Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to pick number one, the finale. My favorite guitar player of all time. My number one out of 30 that we featured all month long. We've been doing it each and every day together here in September. It is September 30th. My pick number one. Who do you think it's going to be? Drum roll, please. Should be no surprise to most people. Many of you probably thought he was going to be my number two. But like I said yesterday, kind of a little cosmic shift of late. My number one, my favorite guitar player on the planet, Mr. Tony Iommi. Of course, the riff master, the leader, and innovative guitar player from Black Sabbath. Yeah, I mean, I've been an enormous Tony Iommi fan for over 40 years, 45 years to be exact. And he has, in all that time, he has always been a top guy for me. There may be other guys who might be better soloists than Tony. Like Richie from yesterday, Richie Blackmore. Maybe Richie's a better soloist. Tony's pretty damn good too. Maybe Michael Schenker, my number three, probably a better soloist, right? Schenker's one of the greatest of all time. But I don't think anybody perfectly combines coming up with quality and memorable riffs and chord progressions and delivering that and combining that with breathtaking solos that incorporates blues and little bits of jazz and a guy who's he's a lefty and he's had those tops of his fingers sawed off in that accident all those years ago. He's got to wear little prosthetic things, right? And then all the stuff that he can do, just absolutely amazing. And he's one of those guys that, I think really worked hard at his guitar playing over the years. If you listen to especially some of the solos that he created as, they moved into the 80s. I mean, he really upped his game in a big way. His lead work in a lot of those 80s albums, just absolutely incredible. But this guy I'm a guy who really appreciates guitar players who can come up with inventive riffs over and over and over and over and over again. And not just cool riffs, but riffs that just stick in your head. And Tony has always done that. He's just, he's, again, another one of those guys that made me want to play guitar. And I think one of the guys that all throughout the years has always inspired me to pick up a guitar and try and create, cool things like he always did, right? And I just as much, I love the whole doom metal genre, and Tony's the godfather of all that, and stoner rock and all that sort of stuff. I love that style of guitar playing, and it's Tony. Tony's the man. So let's talk about my three favorite albums featuring what I feel are his greatest performances. Again, this was not easy at all because I could make a case for just about any album that Tony has ever appeared on. Any of the Black Sabbath albums, even those couple of the stuff he did with Glenn Hughes, right? The solo stuff. I mean, just it's all great. There's so many cool riffs and solos on all of them, but I think I got it down to where these three that I'm going to pick might contain some of the coolest combinations of amazing riffs and amazing solos. But, tomorrow I could change my mind on any of these. So first, I'm going to go back to the album that kind of started it all for me with Black Sabbath, and that is Paranoid. It's not one of my favorite Sabbath albums. I have, others that come before it. But it's the one that totally got me into the band. It was my favorite Sabbath album for quite a number of years, at least for the first probably, 5, 6, 7 years that I was a Sabbath fan. I'm trying to think when Volume 4 kind of overtook this. It was probably around the mid-'80s. So I started getting to Sabbath late 70s. So yeah, 5 years, maybe 6 years or so. This got taken over by Volume 4. But, I mean, this pretty much got me into metal, right? I was already a Kiss fan, but this is what got me into really, really heavier music at the time. And I think that this is just such a breakthrough album and a highly influential album when it comes to these kind of cool riffs and intricate passages and really, really interesting solos from Tony on things like War Pigs and certainly Electric Funeral, Hand of Doom, Fairies Wear Boots, Rat Salad, even some of the cool little jazzy things he's doing on Planet Caravan, right? Of course, you got, the classic Iron Man and Paranoid, right? Just too many iconic and just, for the time, just absolutely amazing things going on on this album. And, Tony wasn't the, like a Jeff Beck or a Jimi Hendrix or an Eric Clapton. He's not the traditional guitar hero in that sense, but just doing all these other cool things, right? That just to me meant just as much, and still to this day. So yes, that's my first record there. Second, I'm going to go with Heaven and Hell. Like I mentioned before, Tony's playing as the band moved into the 80s, I think took on a whole new dimension. I mean, here he's doing some cool, really cool, like acoustic-based stuff on Children of the Sea, very, very melodic. You got more faster-paced, bruising metal on stuff like Neon Nights, Die Young. Of course, you got the amazing and unforgettable riffing of the title track. Breathtaking solos. I mean, he really upped his solo game. He's just faster solos, more technical, and just playing like a young lion all over again. Just Lady Evil, just great stuff on here. Heaven and Hell. And then I got to go with Mob Rules as well. I almost went with Born Again because I think his playing on Born Again is pretty damn terrific. But got to go with this, right? Turn Up the Night, so good. Voodoo, the crushing riffs of Sign of the Southern Cross, right? The amazing riffage on Mob Rules, the title track. Country Girl, so good, so melodic. Falling Off the Edge of the World, more classic Doom, right? And then how about the blistering bluesy solos, emotional solos on Over and Over? So good. So amazing, right? So that's my third pick. Favorite solo. This was really tough too. So many great, memorable solos. Could go in any direction. I had a whole bunch that I was considering. I thought about. I love his ending solo on Snowblind from Volume 4. It's a lot of great soloing on Master Reality. Of course, you got the big, lengthy solos on the very, very first album, and Warning, and just so much good stuff. Great soloing on Trashed, on Born Again, right? And a lot of the Tony Martin era stuff. Great leads on those. But ultimately, I decided to go with, I think, a solo, and it's a solo that kind of takes the song out. The main solo is great too, and then the ending solo is just mind blowing. And it's just Tony showing lots of passion, lots of fire, lots of finesse. And it is the final track from Heaven and Hell, and that's Lonely Is the Word, which I think is vintage Tony Iommi. And it's kind of bluesy. The tone is amazing, and he's just ripping it up, but so much feel going through it. It's so good. So Lonely Is the Word from Heaven and Hell, and my three favorite albums featuring what I consider some of the greatest Tony Iommi guitar playing: Paranoid, Heaven and Hell, and Mob Rules. Those are my picks for the man himself. Let me bring him back to the stage, the Man in Black. Yes, there are two Men in Black, right? Because Richie Blackmore's not the only one who wore black all the time. Mr. Tony Iommi. I grabbed this. There's so many cool picks I could have grabbed for Tony here to share via the StreamYard. I was going to pick one of the more recent ones, and then I was looking at the really old ones. I was like, let's get something kind of in the middle. One of these cool, like, 80s picks here, where obviously he's probably all sorts of zonked out on cocaine, but hey, whatever. Still playing amazing. That's the important thing. So, that's my pick for today. My number one pick, Mr. Tony Iommi. I said at the beginning of this series, because I had so many honorable mentions, that I'm probably not going to go through them all, because there's just so many. I could just sit here and name all my favorite guitar players and just go on and on and on and on. But I did want to go and just at least pull out a few that I felt really, really bad about leaving out. There's a lot more than this, but I wanted to go through some of the other ones that were probably pretty close, and maybe in that next 10 or so. John Sykes, of course. Buck Dharma from Blue Oyster Cult, Brian May from Queen, Frank Zappa, absolutely, Randy Rhoads. Let's see who else here. I want to just grab that. Yngwie Malmsteen, Sean Lane, Chris Oliva from Savatage, Rory Gallagher, Carlos Santana, Paul Kossoff and Tommy Bolin, Mick Box, Leslie West, Pat Metheny. Who else? Ronnie Montrose, David Gilmour. Anybody else I want to throw out there? There's so many others. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Guthrie Govan, Frank Mbali, Dimebag Darrell. I'm going to kind of leave it at that. There's a lot more. Larry Carlton is another one. It's a lot more guys. There's a lot of Southern rock dudes, a lot of other jazz and fusion guys. But, like I said, I can't name all of them. But those are some of the ones who were also right on the periphery that I just felt really bad about leaving off. But there's so many more. I literally probably would have an honorable mentions list of at least 50. So, but yeah, those are kind of like the main ones that just missed the cut. So anyway, there you have it, everybody. Thanks so much for watching this month. I will say, got to give a lot of credit to you folks watching there at home, because quite frankly, I did not have any expectations that this month would be popular at all with our viewers. And I thought this was going to be, this month was going to kind of tank as far as viewership goes. Because I don't know, of late, the last couple of months, any kind of like guitar or guitar player themed shows have not done well at all. I don't know why, because I know we have a lot of guitar players who watch the channel and a lot of people who are into guitar music, but we've done other shows that just like, whether it be about riffs or about just players in general or comparisons, it just has not generated a lot of interest. So I fully expected this month would kind of go down the shitter a little bit, but you guys have amazed me. The views have been very, very solid across the board, and in many cases even better than the vocalist month last month, which I did not expect at all, because I thought that was going to be much, much more popular than this one. But you guys surprised me, so pretty cool. Thank you all. A little round of applause for all of you. And well, guess what? Tomorrow we're changing gears once again. Tomorrow morning, starting tomorrow, pick number 31 of what I consider to be some of the greatest debut albums of all time. And again, greatest debut albums also has a lot to do with my favorite debut albums, right? So there are lots of debut albums that were very, very popular, critically acclaimed, sold lots of copies and all that sort of thing. But if I'm not really a fan of them, I'm probably not going to pick them. In a lot of instances, I may at the end of the month, I may give some credit to them for being very, very notable. But I'm probably not going to pick them for my list, because I'm going with stuff that I know is very, very notable, very, very impactful debut albums, but I also have to like them a bit, at least a bit, right? So yeah, so there may be some that are left off that you guys really, really dig, and they were maybe really big albums, but if they never really meant much to me, I'm probably not going to pick them. So it's what I consider the best debuts, but it's also, there's a favoritism thing going on there. But don't worry, you'll have plenty of stuff that I'm going to be picking that I know a lot of you are also into as well. So, I recognize a lot of the greatness too. So that's starting tomorrow morning. So get your list ready. I'm still fine tuning mine. It's amazing how like occasionally, you think you have your list ready, and then like my wife and I were driving upstate back and forth today and listening to Sirius XM, and all these other songs came on from bands that I love and their debut albums. I'm like, shit, how did I forget them from my list? So I told my wife, send me a text and with all the names of these 5 bands, because somehow I forgot their debut albums on my list. I got to rejig the list again. So that's what I got to do, rejig the list. So I'm going to be fine tuning it tonight, so that tomorrow morning, pick number 31 is ready to go. Till then, visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube all together all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as a post. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also, down below, we get the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, our merch page, our Cameo page, and the join button for Sea of Tranquility memberships. Thank you all for all your support there in advance. It's greatly appreciated here. And we'll see you tomorrow morning for debut albums, pick number 31. Till then, I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Do not miss Hudson Valley Squares tonight. It's our last programming for September 2024. Album War. We got going up. We got Nazareth, Montrose. Well, let's say the albums again. Nazareth, Hair of the Dog, Montrose, self-titled, Scorpions, Virgin Killer, and Budgie, Never Look Back on a Friend. Never turn your back on a friend. Sorry. Going head to head, all 4 of them. We will pick a winner. We're all going to vote on them. And we've got special guest Todd Latore from Queensryche and Kurt Vanderhoof from Metal Church. So do not miss it. Should be loads of fun. We'll see you tonight on the Hudson Valley Squares. Till then, I am Pete Pardo. Enjoy your Monday. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.